Hello and welcome to another development log of Project Third Eye. It's Friday again, and that means that I can show you all the stuff that I did during the week. Let's check really quick if the recording is running, and it is. So let's start. Let's start with this huge snow map that I made. And it basically has tracks and a few lifts, like this chair lift or this anchor lift, or whatever it is called. And it also has a few side tracks where you can break out of the main track and then go on a side track, and then it leads to a jump or a huge gap or just back to the regular track. That's what it is like in real life as well, sometimes. And the reason why I did this mountain map with snow is because I reworked the snowboard vehicle. So let's get this snowboard. And this snowboard now works with the same mechanics as the planes or the boats, because the planes have aerodynamic, the boats have water dynamic, so it's the same mechanism but a different fluid basically. And the snow works very similar. Yeah, it's just the same physics, but only when the snow when it has collision with the snow. So that's basically how it works. And I also fixed a collision issue. In previous versions, the snowboard tended to get stuck in the floor, so it would just jump upright and then it would be stuck in the floor. But that doesn't happen anymore. And yeah, so we can also use it on mesh colliders without any problem, like this terrain. So it's not a flat surface, it has ups and downs, and then you need a different collider that is a little bit more complex. But yeah, we don't get stuck in the floor anymore, and that's why we can use terrains too, and not just flat surfaces. That's why the old ski resort map was very simple, because I always had to use a box collider, which is simpler for the physics. Okay, so let's start by using a track. Okay, so I'm spawning I'm going into buildings, building tools, and then I'm going to get a web shooter. Okay. Yeah. So let's go up the hill so you get an overview of the map. We have, I think, 3 different main paths. One is very slow, like a beginner's track. One is steep and very short, so it just goes there and back to the chairlift. And this one is very flat, but has a little bit more distance. And this one is just a joke that leads into this giant gap. Okay, so here is where the chairlift stops. Yeah. So let's try this joke track first. Okay, so here we need to go. It looks like an official track, but yeah, it has a very, very large gap. So let's try that. And I don't know if you can see this probably, but the snowboard cuts along the edges very well, so we can very well redirect the velocity. And this is the huge gap that I talked about. Yeah, very hard to get to properly drive or ride at this velocity. Yeah, that's how it works basically. Very cool map. Oh, let's get another web shooter. I think I lost the other one. Okay. And yeah, that's how this map works basically. We have tracks, a few side tracks, ski lifts, a snowboard that now has better collision, and what else can I show you? The lifts as separate models. Can I keep the snowboard? I'm just going to pick it up later. Okay, so this is the anchor lift, but for some reason the string is not rendered. I think I disabled the component. And yeah, this is the whole thing, how it's supposed to look. It's getting you up the hill. That's what it's supposed to do, and you may already know that from the snow ski resort map, the small one. That's a an experiment that I did with texturing. So as you may know, I'm not a 3D modeler. I'm very bad at this kind of stuff. And yeah, here I tried to re-texture the model. It was already UV unwrapped, so I only had to do the texturing. I just used default materials in Substance Painter. But I think the result is okay, or very similar to the original. So yeah, I just wanted to get through this process of working, yeah, to get some experience on this kind of stuff. Yeah, I already also retextured this one. The original did not really have a texture, or at least not a PBR texture. And yeah, I set this up for testing. As you can see, it has a seat mechanic. It's maybe a little bit out of scale because I think this should not be here. Also, the seats are very small, so I think this can be scaled up by 20% at least. Yeah, so that's basically how it works. We have a separate seat, and of course we have the huge thing, the whole thing. And even though it's very wonky at the moment, as you can see, I think I don't. Jesus, I don't think you would survive this. But let's try to hop on there. So I'm getting my snowboard. Okay, so now we have to wait for the chair. They should be evenly distributed on the track, but for some reason it doesn't work sometimes. Ah, spawn guns over there in the inventory. Okay, so now we get another try. I think I need to jump up over here and then, oh god, I go into slow-mo, grab the seat and enter the seat. Very nice. It worked. Yeah, and the scale needs to be fixed for some of the things and other things. And while we go up the hill, let me tell you about the other mechanic that I did. And the other mechanic that I did was crash physics for the vehicles. A lot of people suggested BeamNG-like crash physics, but that's obviously out of scope, so that's with mesh deformation and parts falling off, very complex stuff. But I wanted at least to have a mechanic for this, and that's why I mimicked the mechanic from GTA San Andreas for the vehicles. So let's exit the seat, and now let's put the snowboard over here, get the spawn gun, and first I get a weapon, that's 5. Next I get a vehicle to demonstrate the mechanic that I made. So need to rework the force grab, it's really inconsistent. Okay, so the crash physics of GTA San Andreas works like this. You add damage to a vehicle and then it starts with white smoke at the engine. And the more damage it accumulates, the darker the smoke gets. And once it's at a point where it's like black, it's just a matter of time until it starts to burn. Oh Jesus, let's take cover. Ah, we missed it. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's try this again. Okay, another car. Or let's spawn another car, just so you can see that it will ignite. Okay, so let's ignite this one. That's exactly one magazine. And now I'm going to slow-mo. Yeah. It explodes, a few parts falling off, and it will also ignite vehicles that are in the range of this. And of course you will get damage if you hit it, if you're close to the object that is exploding. Yeah, so that's how this works. I think I set this up for, I think 50% of the vehicles now. So I still need to do a few things. It takes a little while because I have to do some things for the meshes, and that takes some time. Okay, so I think now I'm just going to show you, show off the snowboard physics a little bit more. So let's go. So we have a slope track, which is the right way in this direction, And we have a faster, shorter track, which is this one. And that's where we're going down now. That's where we're going now. And I think I will jump off this edge right there. And that basically will lead me into a free fall. And since I put on the parachute, I can safely land on the floor, on the ground. And I also want to set up collision for the chairlift, for the cables of the chairlift. And the reason why I want to do that, careful. The reason why I want to do that so that you can grind on the cables. I think that would be very cool if you could grind all the way. Oh, I left the snowboard, but I didn't exit the parachute. Okay, and then you could do something like this once this has collision. So I go over here, grab this one, enter the snowboard. Okay, that works. Trying not to get stuck. Oh, we're stuck. Yeah, that did not turn out as I wanted it, I can just use the web shooter. Okay, where's the snowboard? I left the snowboard. Oh, Jesus, I'm very tired. You have to be patient with me today. Okay, so there's this lift here. And now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to jump onto the cable of the lift. So I go to slow mode to have a little bit more control. And I don't know if it would work. I was even overshooting, so this would definitely work. And then you could do slides and grind on these cable or wires from the lifts. I don't know how you would do that on this lift, but I think it should be possible. Just imagine grinding all the way down. I think that would be super cool. Yeah, I think we covered almost everything. There are also infinity maps that I tried to do. So for the BMX and skateboard, so you have ramps that just infinitely repeat. I think this could also be set up for the snowboard because it looked very fun on the other vehicles. But if you have any ideas for infinity maps, please let me know in the comments. And that's it. Follow the development, and I hope to see you in the next development log of Project Third Eye VR.